Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar or audio podcast because we are going to convert all our webinars to audio format. And today we have an interesting topic about Blackhead SEO. That's why I decided to invite an awesome guest and one of the best experts in this field, Craig Campbell. How are you, my friend?
All good. Thank you very much for inviting me on the show. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. And I've watched your YouTube channel. You provide a lot of insights, great insights. You're super active with streams. And, I found that Search Engine Journal ranked you in the second place of the most mentioned SEO experts. From another resource, I got that you have the first place. Can you tell our attenders how they can achieve such high results?
I think it just comes down to a lot of hard work and effort, to be honest. When COVID came around, I decided to put a lot more effort into social media and YouTube in particular. And I basically launched some free courses, which basically propelled me into, a much higher level in terms of people talking about me or engaging with me. So I gave away free courses and also spent the lockdown time just making video after video after video. And it kept me sane because, of course, everyone suffers when we have a lockdown and, you're stuck at home. But it gave me something new to learn. And it worked out very well for me. So I pretty much blame lockdown for allowing me more time and to maybe focus on a new platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, let's start from our main topic, and we can divide our webinar into two parts. In the first part, we will provide some insights about Blackhead SEO, and in the second part, we have some requests to check out websites. We will provide as maximum as possible, and if we have no time to analyze all websites because we got a lot of requests, we can provide these insights after the webinar. My team will share some information how you can promote your websites. And yeah, what do you think about such structure?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. Let's start from the first question. What is the main difference between Blackhead and Whitehead SEO?
So my definition of white hat SEO is essentially it's a sales word, if you like, and it's basically used by agencies or people who don't know what they're doing, and they'll tell everyone that they're buying trust from a customer, saying we will use white hat tactics. And so on. A lot of people think that black hat SEO is dangerous or whatever. Now, link building one link is against Google's terms of service. Now, Google also break their terms of service by selling links on their homepage through Google Ads. So business is business, and rules are there to be bent into whatever shape suits the individual. And obviously, what a lot of us marketers do is bend things into shape to suit what actually works. So Google have this concept of put out some great content and everyone will link to you naturally. Now, unless you're Donald Trump or David Beckham or someone of that caliber, no one cares about linking to your little business, whether you're a plumber in London or whatever. No one's going to link to you naturally. So there has to be some form of manipulation. And where there's manipulation, that is where people start to cross into, grey hat or black hat techniques. The way I see it is I do black hat SEO, but essentially it's not me that labels myself a black hat SEO. They tell people, or other people will call me a black hat SEO because I might buy a link, I may do affiliate marketing and do certain things that are seen against Google's terms and conditions. But search engine optimization is a game of manipulation. And if you weren't to manipulate anything, what is it you're actually charging for? So there is no such thing as white hat SEO. You've got to do what works. And essentially, if you don't do what works, you're that guy who's doing white hat SEO who will do nothing and take money from a client, and the client won't get any better. They won't better rankings, better traffic, and they'll move on to someone else and someone else and someone else until someone says, I'm doing some real work on here, and that would probably be seen as grey or black hat. So that's my definition of it.
Yeah, got it. I have a bunch of questions, but I think it's better to reply the questions on our chat. And after this, I will provide my questions. And this question from Random Object. What are the best black SEO strategies in local niches like Locksmith?
I mean, with local niches, what I tend to think works really well is mass page generation. So what you would tend to do is probably use a mass page builder like the Magic Page plugin or Search Shaker, and basically blanket the whole local area for every little small area, and blanket that. But you've also then got the ability to do Google My Business spam. So basically, if you send a whole bunch of GMB listings to a specific address, what you can do is verify them, and then you can drag the pin up to 60 kilometers away without having to re-verify your listing. Now, on top of that, in a lot of local SEO, a lot of guys have unverified GMB listings. You can actually steal them from people. So someone 5 years ago may have completed a Google My Business listing, but they didn't verify it. And if you do not verify it, it is very easy for someone to come and steal your listing off you. And that's something that happens a lot. So a lot of people are doing that, and it's working very well. So these are things that you can do in very small niches like locksmiths and everything else.
Yeah. If we are talking about local SEO, it's better to find links, like local links, not relevant links. But if we wanna use Blackhead SEO, is it possible to find PBN that are related with local niches, or it's more related or relevant to these topics?
I mean, to find someone who has great PBNs in the locksmith niche in a specific area is going to be quite hard to find. So I think, with a lot of local stuff being geographic specific, you want to get relevance where possible, but most of the power websites are going to be probably more geographic specific websites. But if there is a guy there that's got, a handful of PBNs, then use them. But typically you can buy these from other people or buy guest posts that are relevant or whatever. There's always going to be an option out there, but every niche is different. That's just the nature of the game.
How do you buy this guest post? I know that you should reach out to webmasters to analyze what type of content can you propose, to create this content, to provide it. But what about buying? What do you mean, like to buy links?
Yep. Yeah, you can. You can buy a guest post, or you can get link placements. Now, there's services out there where you can simply just go and pay a guy who does outreach, and you can say to him, "I want 10 locksmith relevant links," and this guy will go and do the outreach and get you those links. You don't have to do anything. Now, a guest post is obviously providing an article of content, an article placed on that website, which is then going to be about locksmiths or whatever it might be that links to your website. However, you can also get what is known as link placements or niche edits, where they'll simply go in and add your link into an old existing post. Now that post is probably less likely to be super relevant to you, but those are cheaper and also an option. But there's guys out there who are link vendors that just sell links all day, every day. They do massive amounts of outreach, and they've basically got loads and loads of lists full of websites that you can simply pay to be on. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, got it. Okay, we have the question, what are doorway pages?
So doorway pages is an old term, essentially known as, people would grab a domain name and they'd throw one page up on there, which basically then linked you back to the money website. Obviously, doorway pages were probably more popular prior to PBNs and everything else coming out. Now, these kind of crappy pages are like one pagers, and they are seen as less powerful and just basically garbage. You don't want to go down that route. I think if you are going to build a PBN or you are going to get links, it's much easier to just give a guy $50 or $100
Mm-hmm.
the link. Spending the time making doorway pages, which Google absolutely hate, is not a good strategy going forward. So it's very old school. Before PBNs came out, what we had was exact match domain names that used to rank with one page of content. So like a Locksmith in London might have like 20 other domain names saying Locksmith in a specific area within London, and he would have a whole bunch of them, and they're just spammy and very easy for Google to detect.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. In most cases, people use Blackhead SEO that are related more with link building. But what about on-page SEO? Can we provide some Blackhead techniques with on-page SEO, like to create content or something similar?
I mean, there's tons of different things you can do. Everything can be turned into Blackhead. Even for things like click-through rate and engagement manipulation, that can be used as Blackhead. You can cloak your URLs. There's just, you're showing Google bought one bit of content and you're actually showing the public something else. So you've got cloaking, which still works very well. But what the person's asked here is Blackhead SEO dangerous? It can be dangerous depending on how you do it. Everything comes with a small amount of risk, but the job is to try and mitigate any risk that you're doing. You can do Blackhead SEO and not do it on your money website. Most of the Blackhead SEO tricks I would do would be off of the website, so it would be down to link building. If you are going to be doing cloaking and various things like that, and someone reports you, you're going to get wiped out very, very quickly. Now, you may have a secondary website, so you might have one money website here, and you might have another website here that you're prepared to run more risk with. So, I mean, I know guys that have done Blackhead SEO and cloaking and all these other things and gotten away with it for years. And it depends on how you implement those tactics. Any hidden local SEO technique to boost ranks? I mean, citations, building links to the Google CID URL, sending traffic to the Google CID URL, sending paid Facebook traffic to your GMB listing. The click-through rate and engagement is massive when it comes to local SEO. Sending a small amount of traffic works very well. You can also use the likes of ctrbooster.com. You can also use microworkers. You can also use paid Facebook ads to force that engagement onto your Google My Business listing, not your website. There is no real secret to local SEO. That is all you need to do to rank in any area. Now, if it's really ultra competitive, would I ever build a link to the Google CID URL? A handful of links to that URL can also help you. So that would be the last throw of the dice for me in a competitive market. But that's all you need to do there. There's no hidden secrets. It's not difficult. And that's all you need to be doing with local.
Yeah, got it. We have a bunch of questions about local SEO. I understand, because 46% of all searchers are local, and people want to know how to promote their websites. Okay, tell me about PBN. For example, what's the purpose? I mean, not purpose. I mean, like, what's the process to create PBN? If somebody doesn't know what is it, it's like private block networks. When you buy domains that expired and create links to your websites, but it's not simple like it sounds. How to find them, how to choose which one are good, and how to recover the content from these websites, to choose hosting. Can you provide some steps how to do it correctly?
Yeah, so if you can let me share my screen,
Yes, sure.
I want to show you something. So the first thing would be to find a domain name that, whoops, wait a second. I'm just a login.
Okay.
So finding an expired domain name that's got some form of power and some form of backlinks is important. Now, this is a PBN that I've got that I publicly share with people. Now, the reason I publicly share it is it's a politician, a well-known politician in the UK. It's his old domain name. Now, I only use it for things like this. But to show you a demonstration of what a good expired domain name has and why I bought this domain name, as you can see here, the domain name's there. It's been around for a number of years. It's got links from the BBC. It's got links from Wikipedia, YouTube, a whole bunch of the National Review, and a whole bunch of high profile, highly relevant websites. So that website actually packs a lot of power. Now, what I initially done was go to the Wayback Machine, and I repurposed the website the way it was previously. So let me go to Nigel Farage and the history. So you go to the Wayback Machine and you can see what was on this website, you know, back in, say, 2015. And we click on the blue tab here, and we can click on the snapshots of the website, and we can go on there and steal all the old content, all the pages, if the Wayback Machine has them, and put them onto the website itself. So it's just taking a little bit of time to load, but essentially you can see the website was garbage anyway. But you know, you can see his pictures, you can see everything there, and you can click through the website and take all of the content that's on that website. Now, I can do that, put it onto WordPress, job done. I've got a PBN. Now, the most important parts of that are to try and recreate the URLs the way they were, so that you don't have to go in and do a whole bunch of redirects, because when you publish this website and you change the URLs, you're going to have a lot of broken links. And essentially what you want to do is build that website out, do all the redirects, and then host it somewhere. So essentially you're wanting to host it in different places, because people do PBNs on a kind of massive scale. Now, there are PBN hosting companies out there who say, oh, we'll share, you know, on different hostings and everything else. I've always been extra cautious. I sometimes use fake personas to buy the domain name. I will mix up the registrar, like GoDaddy, Fast Hosts, or whatever. We also make sure that we do place the PBNs on different hosting accounts, which have different domain server settings. And we also make sure that the PBNs do get treated like a real website. The most important thing when someone's buying a link from your website is people want a link from a website that has rankings, that has traffic. Now, secondary to that, guys in the industry say, I can't afford to build PBNs. Now, if you cannot afford to build a PBN, you're not doing it properly. Your PBN can double up as an affiliate website. It can make you revenue through Amazon or whatever it might be. Now, if you don't do that, then you don't have a real PBN. If you're putting a PBN up and it's just going to sit there with the same content year on year on year, you're not building links to it, there's no freshness of content, then that PBN is just going to die away. And you'll wake up one day and it will have zero metrics. So no one wants to buy a link from a website like that. They're more than happy to buy a link from a website that gets traffic. So that's the most important things when it comes to PBNs and the way that other people look at PBNs. Because, of course, if you've got a PBN, you might be using it for personal use, but you could build a bunch of PBNs and monetize it by selling links. But other SEOs are not stupid. They will be looking at whether that PBN gets traffic and rankings as well.
Okay. I'm interested only in the process of finding them. I know that some people use special tools or resources to find websites that have good metrics. What tools do you use to find these PBNs?
So I will use either spamzilla.io. So basically on there, this connects to GoDaddy Auctions and expired domains and everything else, and it will show you the metrics of a domain name. You can also use the search functionality if you're looking for an SEO related one. So that does all of the work for you, and it's got an amazing bunch of filters on there. Secondly, you can go to GoDaddy Auctions. So buying a domain name from an auction is a good thing. Now, the reason that I'm saying that is if you expect an amazing domain name to just simply drop and no one else grabs it, you're going to be waiting a long time. So people tend to go to the auction and they'll pay $100 or whatever. Now, another clever thing is there's guys out there called drop catchers, and you've got guys like Matt Tricott in the UK, or you've got Callan based over in Bulgaria, who quite a lot of people know. These guys are drop catchers. These guys have software that ping, nominate, bang, bang, bang at the right time. So if you are watching a domain name, you have little to no chance of getting it, because these professional guys take these domain names away and they want to sell them to guys like you. So these guys are going to beat you to it. So if you're just going to sit looking for expired domain names on a website like expireddomains.net, you're going to get the shit that no one else wants, essentially. So you're going to have to go to a drop catcher, you're going to have to learn drop catching, or go to the auctions. They're the best places to go.
Okay, got it. Okay, now let's come back to the questions on the chat. What are large-scale Blackhead techniques for e-commerce store?
I mean, that's an open-ended question. Where do you start? Link building. There's so many things that can go in there. Do you build PBNs? Do you do 301 redirects? Do you go out and buy links? All of these are seen as black hat. Then, what you're also potentially going to do is some form. It's all, e-commerce stores are always, doing a little bit of black hat, this and that. But large scale black hat techniques would always revolve around your link building in most cases. The biggest thing for e-commerce stores is you've got so many products, you've got so many categories, and one, you need to sort out all the technical elements. But then secondly, you need to sort out your internal linking structure. So the technical and all that kind of stuff's important. But then it comes down to how aggressive you are and where you're building links to. Now, e-commerce typically is quite competitive, depending on what you sell. So people will probably use large-scale tiered link building strategies. So they're not just buying guest posts. What they'll tend to do is buy, say, 10 guest posts, and then underneath those 10 guest posts, they're likely to have niche edits, SAP links, Web 2.0s, and all sorts of automation underlying their guest posts. So that type of aggression is probably going to have to be required in large e-commerce industries, because the competition's fierce and there's big money to be made, but everyone else is using fairly aggressive link building strategies, which probably accounts for a hell of a lot of your SEO budget, and you need to be doing that properly. So large scale things like you can start to implement automation. You can use your SEO autopilots, your money robot. You can do all of that stuff. But a lot of people say, no, don't use that. Don't use this. These tools still work very well if they're used at the right time, at the right properties. If you like, you do not point any of these things to your money website, because that's when it does get dangerous and become a bit of a problem.
Yeah, what it. I'm interested about quality content. If we are talking about link building to create, like to use PBN, do you need to have super quality content as well, or the medium one, is it okay or not?
The medium content's okay. Now, going back to looking at the Wayback Machine, you can even go and steal content from an expired domain name. Now, if that content's not indexed and you put it on your website, the chances are you're going to get that content indexed. So you can steal content, you can spin content. It doesn't have to be, top-notch content, because I think, Google like freshness of content and stuff like that as well. But you wouldn't want to be spending a whole heap of money on things that are not, designed to be your main money website. So use common sense there.
Okay. Okay. The next question, John asked, what will be the fastest way to rank a money-making website?
The fastest way would just be all out sheer spam. That's not going to have long-term benefits. The chances are, if you want to do it fast, you're going to have to be doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and potentially asking for a penalty or whatever it might be. The fastest way to do it semi-legit would be to use a good solid expired domain name, an aged domain name that's got a backlink profile, and smash it with content and even more links. I think the fastest ways, if you've got deep pockets, is all I can say. When I look at a project, it's all about, what do I need to do to make X amount of money? I don't care about spending 50 grand, split between 20 grand in content and 30 grand in links or whatever it might be. If that website's going to make me 5 or 10 grand a month back, that's a massive return on investment for me. And, to get there fast, you're going to need deeper pockets. If you're going to throw $1,000 a month at it, it's always just going to be a slow burner. So I think, deep pockets and just going at it with sheer scale. Try to get the best, most cost-effective content you can. You can outsource a lot of that to other parts in the world where the cost of living is not so much as it would be in the UK or the US. So you've just got to think wisely. And you can use age domains, 301 redirects, and throw the kitchen sink worth of spam at it. But how aggressive do you really want to be on something like that is entirely up to the individual.
Yeah. Richard Johnson asked, are there any good uses for old school backlink software like Money Robot or GSA Sir? Do you know this? So, yeah.
Yeah, so GSA I still enjoy, and the reason I like GSA is you've got the ability to use Scrapebox, and you can scrape up your own lists and then submit through GSA. Now, Richard will know what I'm talking about when I say that. Now, is there any uses for it? 100%. Tier 2, tier 3, whatever it's going to be. But what I've also found in recent times is, even with YouTube videos and stuff like that, I can do a massive amount of embeds, scraping up websites, and then submitting my video to them through GSA. So that's the difference between me ranking in YouTube or actually have my YouTube video ranking on Google for a particular search term all comes down to the embeds. Money Robot, again, creating Web 2.0s and everything else on autopilot. Do I smash that at guest blog posts? Or if I get some PR, I will use Money Robot GSA to point at those links that then point to my website. So yeah, I still use them every day.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, any Blackhead technique to rank a newly launched website for specific keywords based on a geographic location? Oh, I think it's so broad.
Again, it's an open-ended question. Do you need a whole bunch of black hat to rank a local area website? No, you don't need to do aggressive black hat techniques. I think what you need to understand is black hat techniques are often used in likes of gambling and highly competitive niches. For local SEO, a handful of guest posts, some citations, and geographic specific stuff is going to be enough to rank most local websites. You don't have to get all dirty and start doing loads of redirects and having loads of PBNs and using all these crazy tools. So so you don't have to get that dirty with local. It's not that competitive.
Okay. The next question from Hiran Mulani. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce correctly. Is it safe to use mass link building software like Mass Traffic Monster, Money Robot, etc.?
So, as I said a couple of questions ago, Money Robot works very well. Software like Mass Traffic Monster, I haven't even heard of. But going by the name, a lot of these traffic exchange websites, some of them don't work because Google are well aware of their IP addresses and stuff like that. So when it comes to traffic and traffic exchanges, yes, there'll be some ones out there that work very well. But what I've found is using paid traffic, CTR Booster with rotating residential proxies and micro workers, the mixing all three of those combined gives me the clicks and engagement that I need from the traffic side of things. I've tried, a lot of the traffic tools that are out there, and they've had no real impact because they're just not doing the job properly. And I think Google can detect a lot of these things, so you need to be careful when it comes to the kind of traffic related websites.
I like the next question from Harry, and he asked about do you think there's any issue with link building between multiple sites that you write for? I mean, like it's interlinked them, your private block networks. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how many websites you actually write for. If you're going to write for 2 or 3 websites, yes, you'll probably get away with it. If you write for 103 websites, you're interlinking everything and potentially leaving a massive footprint, and you don't want to create that kind of network of websites that are all linked together. So you need to be careful with that, depending on how many you're doing it in a very small scale, helping each other you want to do. But if you're writing for a whole bunch of websites, say it's 26 websites you've got in website A, B, C, D, E, there's nothing wrong with linking website E to website W and linking website B to website F and stuff like that. You don't have to interlink them all together. I think you can use other websites that you've got access to benefit other websites, but I wouldn't be interlinking them all together.
Yeah, got it. Okay, the next question: how to find competitors, rank keywords, and rank on them with Blackhead SEO?
Relatively easy. Like finding your competitors' keywords using tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, or any of the other competitor analysis tools is all you need to be able to establish a content plan. Now, if you don't have content in your website, you can't rank for the search terms. So you're going to have to create content. Doing good, solid on-page SEO is really important. That can carry you a long way. It can potentially get you to the top end of page 2. then looking at Black Hat SEO, you need to decide whether you need to be aggressive and do everything Black Hat, or whether buying 5 links over a couple of months is going to be enough to put you onto page 1. So again, this Black Hat SEO is not a cool thing to be doing. You don't want to spend money where you don't need to spend money. If I can rank a website buying 5 links and doing amazing on-page SEO, then that's all I do. That's all I want to do. If I need to build PBNs, use expired domain names, trick people, and all of that other stuff, yes, of course I will do it, but it's only on an as and when required basis. So do not think that every instance you have to use Black Hat SEO to beat the competition. To be honest, think of it this way. Change your mindset, right? So what you need to think of is most SEOs out there are shit SEOs. Now, even with you doing the bare basics, will probably put you above the shit SEOs that are out there. Now, I've met thousands of SEOs. I can hand on heart say I've probably met about 50 across the world that actually know what they're doing. So, do you need to go to these crazy lengths to beat the average pretend SEO? Absolutely not. All you need to do is do better on page and put a bit of grind in. And it's not Black Hat SEO that works. It's your time and effort and actually taking action and doing things that Google like, which is normally going to propel you above the competition.
Okay. Tell me some niches that you think it's not good with Black Hat SEO, or for example, niches that you, I don't know, like adult or gaming, gambling, and people think that they are good with Black Hat, but some niches like white niches, it's not good. What do you think about that point?
Yeah, so in gaming, gambling, adult, Black Hat SEO is a big thing. They all do it. They're all trying to cheat each other and trying to get the edge over each other. So for me, Google allow more spam in these particular niches. Now, why would they do that? These guys are probably spending big money on everything that they do, content, links, ads, and everything else. So Google has to look at that as, certain industries probably get away with a lot more than they should do. Now, when you look at other industries like local plumbers and stuff like that, is it favourable to do Black Hat SEO? Now, yes, you can still get away with it. You just don't have to. There's certain other industries like the medic niche, for example, where Google are probably a little bit more aggressive with their algorithm. And they've got the kind of EAT, which is expert, authority, and trust. So, they've got a slightly different algorithm for that. And obviously what they don't want is Joe Blogs writing some medical information. Unless you're a trusted medical professional and you've been cited in white papers and journals and all that stuff, then you're always going to struggle. And that's why a lot of people are hit with the medic update. So I think, Black Hat probably wouldn't work that well in the medical niche, but it works very well in the gambling niche because every gambling guy has a bunch of PBNs. They're buying up everything that they can because they've got massive budgets to do so. So that barrier of Black Hat SEO just goes through the roof. And if everyone's doing it, what Google can't do is penalize every website in that niche, because they would basically be wiping out billions and billions of pounds worth of businesses online that are generating them billions of pounds in ad revenue. So Google cleverly is a business and cleverly does allow certain industries to get away with more, in my opinion, anyway. Obviously, they're never going to come out and admit that. That's just how I perceive it to be.
Yeah. We need to reply to this question because Hannah asks 3 times this question. Can we rank keywords by using Black Hat SEO? I can't miss this question anymore.
Yes, you can. Do you have to? Is the real question there. Do you have to rank keywords using Black Hat SEO? Do more of the good stuff the white hat stuff, the on page, and then see the black hat stuff as icing on the cake.
Yeah. Okay. The next question. Using VPNs to inflate CTR for certain keyword will be considered as Blackhead SEO or not?
Yeah, I would consider that to be black hat. You're not supposed to be manipulating that stuff. So any form of manipulation would be seen as black hat. Now everyone does it. You know, I love CTR, and I've proven that CTR works very well. But yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, that would be considered black hat.
Once I remember Gary Ellis shared that CTR doesn't help with ranking when he replied to the issue when Rand Fishkin started this conversation about CTR that helps rank websites. He replied, "Not, it doesn't help." I know that on YouTube CTR is super important. What about Google? What do you think? It helps or not?
Yeah, 100%. Now, obviously, guys like Gary Ellis or whoever at the time works for Google, they're not going to turn around and say to you, CTR works very well, everyone. They ain't going to tell you that. Why would they tell you that? Now, of course, Google have said statements over the years, which we all know is just bullshit. Now, it's their job. These guys are employed to try and scare the public out of doing CTR or building links or whatever. Now, one of the most common things in SEO is everyone's scared or really shit at building links. Now, why is that? It's because Google have everyone scared and people are like, oh, I don't know if I should build links. Now, the successful guys who are making a lot of money online are all building links. But the public out there, 80% of them are like sheep and they will believe everything that Google throw out there. Now, our job as SEOs is to manipulate Google. And Google are not going to, Gary Ellis or anyone else for that matter, is not going to come out and say, hey guys, CTR works really well. Have they ever told you anything that works really well? Absolutely not. They've always told you to keep writing good content, keep, spending money in ads and doing all this stuff. They've never once told you anything that works. They will tell you stuff doesn't work, which we all know works. So you have to take that stuff with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, got it. Okay, the next question: can we do SEO to website hosted on a free web hosting platform without owning Adobe?
You potentially can. Would I ever spend my time and my effort and my money optimizing a website that I didn't own? Absolutely not. Because why would you? If you don't own the domain and you're on a free hosting platform, then it's not your website. So it costs you about £20 to buy a domain name and host a website for a year. If you can't afford that, you probably shouldn't be entering this niche.
Yeah, and I decided to change hosting for my website, and I paid like $50 a month. Today I paid $185, and the speed increased a lot. And a lot of my tools work much better. And I recommend to use the maximum tariff plan because. Websites usually lose 20% for each loading second. Don't try to save money here. It's super important, especially when people load your website from mobile phones, from smartphones. It's important.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question: what do you think about hack the box?
I mean, I'm not a professional hacker or anything like that. Now, obviously, that particular tool, I have an interest in hacking, but I'm not a professional hacker. But that platform allows you to, of course, pen test your websites and stuff. And Is that going to help you secure your website and help you overall? Yes. Can it be used for malicious stuff? Yes. I don't want to get anyone into trouble or say anything else on it, but I find that stuff interesting. Is all I'm going to say on it. And yeah, you can learn a lot of good things on there, but equally a lot of bad.
Yeah. My team asked you, is Blackhead cheap? What is the price range for Blackhead SEO services?
It depends on what you call cheap. Now, when it comes to Black Hat, you're buying links, you're buying this, that, and the next thing. It's going to be more expensive than White Hat SEO, because when it comes to White Hat SEO, no one's actually doing anything. These are the guys that are charging you $100 a month, and they don't even buy a link. They don't build a link. They don't do any work. So it will be more costly than that. But what I find is I'm more cost effective as an SEO than most agencies, because agencies have massive overheads and everything else. So the cost of SEO, there's no set guideline that SEO has to cost £100 a month or £500 a month. So it really comes down to what you charge for it and whether you get a return in the investment. Whether, it's not really about, is it cheap or not? It's, if I spend £5,000 and it will be seen as grey or Black Hat, can I make 10,000 or 20,000 back from that £5,000 spend? And I think with anyone in the world, if you paid me 5,000 and I could get you 20,000 back, I would be getting £5,000 from everyone every day. So, that's, the way to look at it. Don't think of it as an expense. It's a necessity for your business to rank well online. And, you could charge 10 times more than me, and who's to say that's right or wrong? So pricing massively varies from country to country, from person to person. But what I would say is any Black Hat SEO that actually knows what they're doing is not likely to do client work for you. So just bear that in mind as well. They can make their own money. They're not interested in doing it as a service for other people.
Yeah, great. Okay, Chris asked, what Blackhead strategies would you recommend for your money, your health sites? No, sorry, Anat, we replied to this question. How can I identify if my competitors use Blackhead SEO strategies? Yeah,
so again, you have to be able to have the ability to reverse engineer stuff. Now, a lot of people look at the likes of Ahrefs or SEMrush and say, oh, that guy's only got 5 links. How does he beat me? Now, you need to you need to understand how to reverse engineer further. Now, you need to look at the links that are going to the links these guys are building. Now, Majestic has actually brought out something new to their platform when you're looking at link building, and they're able to show you second tier and stuff like that. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that stuff is. However, you can look at Majestic and you're able to have on your dashboard more comprehensive information and deeper information on the techniques that these guys are using to build links. And again, you either have to replicate that or whatever. Now, again, I'm not sure how accurate Majestic is. I've not tested it recently. However, I would go through Ahrefs or one of the other tools that I use and just look at the links these guys have got and see what links are pointing to them. Very easy to reverse engineer it. And from there, you'll be able to see if they're doing any kind of dodgy tiered link building or whatever it may be.
What do you think about complaining to Google? For example, if you see that your competitors use Blackhead SEO strategies, can you send the request to Google, and how Google usually replies to such requests?
I don't want to condone people reporting other people. I do not like someone who does that. I think people should concentrate on their own websites. Now, will Google take action if you were to report someone for something? Yes, they will. Now, I've seen other people reporting GMBs. They've reported, a whole bunch of other stuff. A quick way, and I'll give you just one example here, is I can go and add an image to someone's GMB profile. Now, I could upload a 0% overlay of a dildo and basically report that for that GMB as having some sexual symbol on their picture. Now, Google will instantly ban that, and that is a tactic where people are doing negative SEO. So, of course, when you're looking at someone's backlinks and you can see they're doing this, that, and the next thing, you could easily report that to Google, and you are doing Google's job for them if you do that. Now, I believe karma is a big thing. Should you be going around doing that stuff? Absolutely not. It will come back to bite you in the bum. If you get caught for it, you don't know what trouble you're going to get into from that person either. It's a very dangerous game, and if you're going to mess someone else's business up, then be prepared for the worst, because people will not just sit back and take that lightly. So that's all I would say on that. Try not damage another man's business. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, got it. Okay, Chris asked 2 times, what Blackhead strategies would you recommend for your money, your health sites?
So your money, your health websites is obviously very similar to the kind of medic side of things, where your money, your health websites is a form of medic update. And again, black hat strategies that could work in that niche. You're going to have to use a fake persona. You're going to have to build some PR around that fake persona. You're going to have to build that authority and trust for that fake persona for these websites to work better, in my opinion. It's all down to fake personas, fake PR, and getting these guys, the authority and trust for Google to say, right, this person is a credible person and can be writing about this type of stuff. So again, that can also go into the medic niche as well. And there are websites out there that have fake medics on it, and they've been pumped all over the papers, and it is what it is. You've got to do what you've got to do. And if you're not that person, that has that authority and trust, then you can build someone that does have that authority and trust. And loads of people do it, and loads of people get away with it. So it's just about making that look real and doing that to make money.
Yeah, got it. If we want traffic to our competitor with Blackhead SEO, is it effect on their ranking? Oh, I don't recommend this tactic.
If you send traffic to someone else's website, you're likely to do them more good than bad. So if it's bot traffic, any kind of shit traffic, Google will probably just filter it out. Now, if it's good traffic you're sending and you think it's going to harm them, you're probably going to get their click-through rate and engagement up, which is going to give them an increase in rankings. So I wouldn't be looking to use that as a negative SEO tactic. There are other things you can do for negative SEO, not that I want to try and tell you about them, because again, I don't think taking another man's business out is the best use of your time.
Yeah, completely agree. Okay, the next question. What are the most underutilized tactics, in your opinion, at boosting small or medium-sized websites?
Most underutilized tactics. Do you know what? When I see a lot of websites and people come to me, small to medium-sized businesses, and say, can you audit my website? Tell me where I'm going wrong. A lot of these websites just lack the basic core fundamentals of SEO. They don't even have that. These are the most often underutilized things tactics that you find in a website. People are more worried about site speed. People are not doing their on-page properly. Now, what I'm going to say about on-page is many people hire a content writer and say to them, go and write me 800 words for these 20 locations for this service. And someone goes away and writes 800 words, throws it in the website, and everyone thinks that's good SEO. Now, who says it's 800 words that should be written for that term in that area? People are not using basic tools like Surfer SEO or POP or anything like that to actually optimize their website and actually go into the tool and say, well, for plumbers in London, everyone else in the top 10 has got 1,200 words. And here is all the semantically related keywords that should go in there. Here is all the subheadings that should go in there. So people are not even doing that properly. And that is something that a lot of small businesses are not doing. The basics is not being done properly.
Okay. Volodymyr Nikulin asks, how do you analyze third-party website when consider purchasing a link from it? What are the key criteria? I mean, like the best metrics.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're looking at metrics. Now, people say metrics are not the be-all and end-all, and they're not. You know, of course, if something's got a higher metric, it tells me that it's a better website. However, what I'm looking for is relevance. I'm looking that that website has traffic and rankings, and I'm also looking to see how many external links are linking out from the page that I'm going to get a link on. Now, if that website is selling links to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, would I pay for a link on it? Absolutely not. Now, if a page has got 100 outbound links on it, and I've got one of those links, what is the perceived value to my website? If the power of that website's been distributed to 100 websites. Now, that is something that no one's told me that Google give a score to that. But of course it's going to dilute the power and effect that one link's going to get. We've all tried and tested different things, and if I can get a link on a DR60 website that's relevant to me, and I'm the only link on that page, is that going to give me more weight than a page where 100 other guys are getting a link from it? 100%. So these are the little things that I look for.
Yeah, I think we can reply to the last question, and if we have time to analyze just one or two websites, just a brief insights. Okay, could you suggest some tools, free Blackhead SEO tools, if you don't mind?
I don't know any free Blackhead tools. They all cost money. Even things like ctrbooster.com will cost you a one-off fee. You've got SEO Autopilot, which costs you a monthly fee. GSA has got an upfront fee, a one-off fee. So Money Robot's got a monthly fee. They've all got a fee, sadly. So I don't know any free ones. To be honest, what I would say to anyone is, if you're looking for free tools, you're wasting your time. All of these tools, the guy deserves some money. If that's adding value to you and your business, you need to be prepared to pay the going rate for it.
Okay, yes, sure. Okay, guys, I see we have a bunch of questions. You can ask all these questions in our LinkedIn group. I will share the link, and Craig, choose one website from the list, what you like more, just randomly. We can ask.
I'm going to randomly pick one. Let me have a look. Right, so I'm going to pick Linda Thompson Speaker. So I'm going to share my screen again.
Okay, please share.
And let's go. So I've picked Linda Thompson Speaker, who is number 11th in the list.
Okay.
And the only reason I want to pick Linda Thompson is because I also do a bit of speaking, and I'm just curious to see what she has got. So let's have a look at Linda Thompson Speaker. Right, I'm not going to analyze this website because it's got no rankings, no keywords, no backlinks.
Yeah, more content. Create more content.
Let me see. Webmaster Bot. Let's see what Ravi has got.
It's like our colleague.
Right, I'm not going to analyze that one. Third time lucky.
It's better to check out all of them on Hrefs bunch.
Try spysaltsalon.ie. Let's see what these guys have got. Right, so we've got something to work with here. So spysalon.ie is going to be some kind of salon based over in Ireland. So they've got their services, spy, gallery, special offers. It's a hair salon, and they've got a shop and all that stuff. So website looks okayish. I'm not sure on the the navigation bar dropping onto a second tier. What I'd be looking for is to have that up as remove something from here if you can, and try and have it all in one line. But looking at the SEO point of the website, they've got 33 referring domains. They do rank for 138 keywords. They have been getting more traffic getting into November. I think they've been, they've slipped away when that core update probably came out. Their keywords is dipped, and it's got a lot of work to do now. If you look at that, the keywords have dipped, the traffic's dipped, the backlink profile is probably not that great. They've got a handful of powerful links, so anything more than a 30 is probably a good link. So they've got about 12 or 15 good links. Anything below a 30 is probably not that worth. These are not good. They're not passing any value, really. So the backlink side of things on this particular website isn't the best. Now, they're obviously being found on Voucher Connect. They're on a bed and breakfast website, and they're on a few other things. They're on the Dublin Gazette, which, is a local newspaper, which is going to carry a bit of power. Now, can they get more than that? Yes, they can. They're on a few directories, but what this particular person needs to do is get better backlinks from other hair salons, get more local PR, get on niche relevant directories. You can actually go to guys like this, and I'll show you SEObuilder.com. These guys can do citations anywhere in the world, and basically they can give you 35 links, which will be a mix of generic, niche relevant, and geographic specific directories. They spin the description and they send the citations to an indexing tool. Now, the most important part of this is spinning the description and sending those citations to an indexing tool. A very common mistake that is made in this industry is the citations that you get are not indexed because they typically have been run through, or they're duplicate content. So spinning that description is going to give the citation an element of uniqueness, and obviously sending it to an indexing tool like Omega Indexer is going to help it get indexed. Now, if a citation is not indexed, it's not passing value to your website. It's not providing the link that you think it is, and therefore you are going to struggle. Now, this particular website, it has a little bit of traffic, and again, we can go back and see the keywords that it ranks for. Now, they're not going to be great. Their brand brings in a lot of their traffic. Spy Salon. Anything else that they have, like Beauty Salon Rath Farnham, is in position 14. And now that's because the website doesn't have a lot of power. It doesn't have a lot of on page. So if I go to their homepage just now, it's Spy and Hair Beauty Salon, North Circular Road, Sheldon. Now, that is fine, but there's loads of areas that this person probably covers, surrounding areas, and you would want to have landing pages or a blog post talking about each and every one of those areas, because that is essentially what you have to do. Now, they've also got semi-permanent eyebrows Dublin, and it's in position 23. Again, if we look at this, The title tag is talking about microblading. So the targeting, the URL, nothing there is talking about semi-permanent makeup. So that page by default ranks for a search term based on the titles and the content that's on here, but they're not actually ranking very well for the term that they're supposed to be ranking for. There's not very many mentions on that page of semi-permanent eyebrows. Now, if they were to go into their website and change those pages to semi-permanent eyebrows and whatnot, then they would do a lot better for that search term, because they've got microblading here and stuff like that, but they don't. That page does not have good on-page SEO when it comes to looking at the search term semi-permanent eyebrows. So that is something that they have to do. The website looks okay. I do think that they need to do their on-page a hell of a lot better. They have to break down their services into what the general public actually look for. Obviously, microblading Dublin is a completely different search term. I would be having a completely new page talking about only semi-permanent eyebrows, and basically break that website down and silo everything out, and make sure that you've also got a whole bunch of geographic specific landing pages for all the local areas. And from there, you will have a lot better rankings and more traffic.
I check out all these domains with Ahrefs bench analysis, and you can analyze the road 23, because I see some traffic here.
Give me a second.
Yeah, or you choose another one if you like more.
Well, we can look at another one if you want.
Yeah, we can. 23. Yeah, I think it's good.
23 Box Avenue.
Yes.
Box Avenue, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that website looks nice. So let me just share my screen again. I'm just closing some windows down. Ahrefs. Share screen. So this particular website, Box Avenue, very professional looking website, to be fair. Obviously selling women's items. Yeah, nice e-commerce website, looks good. And obviously, more importantly, what I like to see when I look at a website is this nice DR up at a reasonable level. And obviously, the traffic this website gets is good as well. And the traffic value is also important. This is a website that's based primarily in the UK. They do get a lot of traffic from America. But their brand, Box Avenue, look at the search volume for that alone, 140,000. So a lot of their traffic is actually coming from their own brand name. But as we go down, you can see that they rank very well for lingerie, which is a very generic search term, and it has a massive amount of search volume, and they're position 1 for it, and also sexy underwear and a whole bunch of different search terms. That this website really does rank for a lot of different things that are amazing. Very, you can see all the different volumes here, swimsuits and so on. And obviously the way, if people are listening to this, why does this website rank really well? If you go to anything on their website like this, the URL is there, their title tags is talking about leopard plus short set, and basically their backlink profile is just outrageously good. They've got a DR62, They've got thousands of backlinks. They are in all of the kind of top websites you would expect to see them. Business Insider, which is a generic one, The Telegraph, The Independent. They've got Wikipedias. They've got a lot of PR stuff going on. The Sun and everything else. They have acquired a lot of good PR, and they're in the Cosmopolitan magazine, and they're in Vogue, and this is just a job really well done. Just with a very quick look at it, you cannot argue that website doesn't look professional. You cannot argue that the on page in that website is not good. And obviously, looking at the off page of that website, they have the right balance. It's not all focused on PBNs. They've got PR. They've got some other stuff there that you can buy yourself, such as Business Insider and various other bits and bobs. And yeah, they're in Vogue, and they're sizing, which is a PR related thing. So they're doing a lot of good stuff, and they've obviously got links on TripAdvisor and a whole bunch of other amazing magazines. Hello Magazine. So I think for me, this is a fairly what you would call a clean, white hat-ish job. And again, just shows you that to buy all of this stuff would have cost a whole bunch of money, but that is a job very, very well done. There's not a lot you can criticize on that. And someone's saying there, Kerry's saying that company is huge. That's a £1 million website. 100%. It's they've got massive amounts of PR. They've got massive amounts of building their brand and everything else. And that is essentially what you want to be doing for your small business, is with a view to building your brand, doing PR and mixing everything up, not expecting to build a business based on PBNs and spam is essentially what I would say when looking at that website. That's how to do it properly. They clearly have budget to do things properly, and they're in all the right places. So amazing job, and I wouldn't expect anything less. They clearly look like a well-oiled organization, and kudos to them for that. But for anyone looking in, the secret here is they've used PR to their advantage. They've got a lot of power and authority to that website. They've made it professional. It gets a whole bunch of click-through rate and engagement, and that website's just going to go from strength to strength. They add different product lines in. They're going to sell very well. So they're in a nice position.
Okay, Craig, thanks a lot. A lot of great insights. I love them. I think audience love as well, And yeah, I'm excited to get you, to provide these insights to our audience, and hope see you again, at least one time, to provide a lot more insights.
Yeah, always happy to be back. Just give me a shout if you ever want to hear from me again.
Okay, sure, of course. And before we finish, just tell where people can reach out to you. Where is the best way?
So you can get me on my website, which is craigcampbellseo.com. I do a lot of YouTube tutorials as well, so you can see me on my YouTube channel. Just go into YouTube and put in Craig Campbell SEO, and again, you see a lot of tutorials. I do a lot of question and answer sessions and a whole bunch of other stuff on there. Free courses, free everything. So yeah, get in touch with me through the website or on YouTube, or from there on any of my social media.
Cool. You can find all these links in the description below. Just open it, subscribe to Craig channel, subscribe to this channel, and I want to introduce the next guest. I think you know him, because I found him on your channel, Itamar Blower.
Yep. Itamar, yeah.
Itamar, yeah. And we will have the next webinar on Tuesday, the next week. Yep. And we will provide some insights about YouTube, how you can grow on YouTube. And yeah, nice to have all guys, and see you the next time. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.